wish I had thought to create these paper tray organizers years ago, because I've always had all kinds of different artist tools and supplies to store. But it was falling down the fountain pen rabbit hole this spring and quickly amassing a very large collection of pens that necessitated a way to properly store them. And this is what I came up with. I used cardstock and a self-healing cutting mat, not only to cut on, but for these measuring increments. I use a ruler. Any ruler will do. And then I like to use a small awl, which is like an ice pick. Anything that has a sharp point to it but won't cut the paper is what you're after to use in place of the awl. I just bring it slowly and evenly along the ruler. And what I'm doing here is I'm measuring in 1/2 inch increments to make the vertical sidewalls and to make the walls between each compartment. So here I just did a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. That will be one sidewall. I like my compartments for my pens to be 3/4 of an inch. So between this point and the next line will be 3/4 of an inch. After that, there'll be 2 more 1/2 inch lines. If it seems a little overwhelming, you can use a pencil and mark where you want to score the paper before you begin. I find just by going slowly and double checking, right? There's 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. This will be 3/4 inch. It means the next 2 will be 1/2 inch. That I really don't need to use the pencil to mark it ahead of time. If I was not willing to take the time to, kind of eyeball it each time to make sure the next one would be the correct increment, then I would use a pencil. But I don't have an issue with just double checking as I go along. 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch. This will be another 1/2 inch. And I measure along the top and the bottom. This will be 3/4 inch. The beauty is, if you have a set of tools or items that you're making this for, you could customize the width of each compartment to perfectly fit the items you want to store, which means you could really maximize the use of space and not waste space by having some compartments be larger than they need to be. That might allow you to throw one more compartment in than if you had made them all uniform. Like this, so 1/2, 1/2, 3/4. That means this one will be 1/2. And here I've ended up with one more 1/2 inch section on the end because I measured for that before I pre-cut this piece of paper down. Hold this up so you can see the score lines. They're really hard to show you. There we go. There's some shadow. And then what I'll do is, on each side of each compartment, the paper comes up and folds back upon itself to make that vertical sidewall. If you have fingernails, you can just use your fingernails to set the crease like that. If you don't have fingernails, you could use something like an origami folding tool. Usually they're called bone folders, but mine is an Ito brand bamboo folder. And you just use it like that to set hard creases into paper. There's my sidewall. And now I'm just going to do that to the rest of the paper. This is the last one. Ideally, I like for each end to be doubled, if I can allow for that. If I can't, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world or anything, but I just like it better when they turn out that way. Here, these got kind of flipped around after I folded them. Okay, now you can see how these are all different. Some of the folds are holding better than others. Sidewalls, the vertical walls are splaying out. At this point, I want to glue those shut. I'm just going to fold this over. I'm going to take just white tacky glue and just put a small bead of it along one side of one section. Compress the paper together, use pressure to get them to stick. And see, I'm just pressing it together because then, see how it stays together instead of coming apart like these? And I do that to each of them, except I don't do the two on the ends. I try to always leave those free. And the reason for that is if you want a compartment that's longer than what you can make with one piece of paper, then you make another compartment the same size, except on one end, instead of having it double, just have a single piece come up, and that single piece can sandwich in between the double. So if this was a single cut edge on the next section, you would tuck it up in here, glue it on either side, and then you could double the length of your tray or more. Because you can add as many sections as you want based on your need. I'm putting this, a little bit of glue. See how nicely those hold together? And I'll do this last one. So it's like that. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to make this side wall section like this. It's just made out of one piece of paper. And the reason I had said before not to glue these end pieces shut is because then when you fit everything together, this end piece conceals where that section ends. And you'll just end up with this very nice, clean presentation. Now, if you want, you could glue the tray to the bottom, and then you could glue this flap down to the side of the side insert. And if you really want it to be all squared off, you could even put a little glue in between the vertical edge of each of these sections. But then you'll have to hold it in place like this until it dries. But you could do that. My finger bothers me at moments like this. My broken finger. I wish I could get it fixed. But even if they fix it, it'll only be half as good. It'll like come up like that instead of being bent at a 90-degree angle. But I'm probably going to get that done at some point. Of course, I didn't break it until I started making videos of my hands to put online. The process to make that little insert is this. I've pre-measured this piece of paper to be 2 inches longer than my insert. So there's 1 inch on each side and an extra 1/2 inch to be the upright vertical edge here. So I usually make my strips 2 inches wide and then 2 inches longer than the tray is long. And I probably should have mentioned earlier, one thing about using these self-healing cutting mats is I keep everything consistent, meaning when I align the paper here, I align it to the left of the white line, and when I cut a piece of paper, I also cut to the left of the white line. If I aligned on the right and cut on the left, then things won't be as accurate. So here I'm going to put in that 1/2 inch indentation mark using my awl. And then I'm going to put in 1 inch marks in 1/2 inch increments. So this will be the section that folds over on the end. You could do this without doubling it, like if you just have a scrap of paper left and you have enough for a 1/2 inch but not the full inch, that's fine. It's going to be hidden under that flap anyways. But I just like to do this double because I think it reinforces it better. So that's at 1 inch. This one's at 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to fold along the vertical line just so that I can see where the line is. And then I'll put my ruler. This is where it's good to have a metal edged ruler. I can see that my 1 inch indentation line is right here. So I'm just going to abut the ruler up to that section and then take a X-Acto knife or craft knife, and right where that indentation line starts at 1 inch, I'm going to cut to create a flap like that. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I like to press the ruler up against the paper so I know it's right over the line. Look for where the 1 inch indentation mark is. Cut like that. Okay. Now I'm going to fold those two flaps inward and then fold the 1/2 inch back onto itself, and it creates this double sidewall. Do that on both sides like that. And then I'm going to open this up. I'm going to fold that little flap so it'll fit inside. Trying to make the light better so you don't get all those reflections. Okay. So I fold it and the flap is hidden. See how clean it makes it? I'll do that on both sides. Just pinch. And here I will go ahead and add just a little bit of glue to those flaps. So I'm going to fold those in out of the way. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue, not a lot, just a dab on the front and back, each of these sections, like that. And then I'll fold it in towards the tray and fold the flap down over it. So clean. Absolutely love how that looks. And then do the same thing on the other side. Just fold it down towards that vertical wall and fold the flap down on it. And then I'll just hold this. Just again, put some pressure on it, get a little bit of warmth to help the glue dry faster. And that is how I make my sidewalls. So the final assembly is simply to take the tray and drop it onto each of the sidewall sections, making sure you get these flaps to go over those sections. And that's it. That's my finished tray, since I don't glue mine together. How great is that? It's easy, it's inexpensive, doesn't take long, and 100% customizable. I hope you have fun with this idea. Thanks for dropping by the Tinygami Studio.